What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, with Premium Booster 01 finally actually out, we need to have a look at what's going on with the price of these singles. And when I say actually finally out, what I mean is, we had it in starter decks for a little while now, for a couple of weeks. You can buy a starter deck, you get a pack of Premium Booster 01, jobs are good 'un. But of course, we don't want to be buying a starter deck to get one pack of the set. That is not ideal, and there's only so many starter decks out there. No, we want to be buying booster boxes, and although I still can't go and buy a booster box at my local store, no big deal, not upset about that, we need to have a look at what is happening more broadly as we go around. So, let's start off with a Gold Dawn, shall we? And also, just an explanation. When I did my top 10 most expensive cards from the set the other day, I told you it didn't really make much sense. Some of you have responded to me and explained things like, well, you know, the Gold Dawn sales at the moment are being mixed in with the Foil Dawn and it's all a bit messy. Yes, it is. That's kind of what I was saying in the video the other day. It's a weird special set that we don't know exactly what to deal with. So the prices are a little all over the place for now. And certainly it means places like TCG Player that are wonderful resources are a little less reliable than normal because people don't know exactly how to deal with this special set. Although what I showed you the other day was the most expensive cards at the time, it's just a little bit awkward. So with that borne in mind, let's go and have a look at some of the cards we looked at the other day and see what's changed. So I showed you the other day that somebody was actually paying, we had a sold of the Zoro Dawn for $320, which I told you was ridiculous and way too expensive and not something we should really be expecting in the future. What's happened to the price? Well, it has come down. And on the one hand, it's come down fairly significantly. And on the other hand, it's still very expensive. So the last three solds of the English Zoro Dawn were $230, $240, and $250. Weirdly, in that order, it seems like every sale is going up by $10. So it's still really expensive, and I think probably too expensive. I don't expect it to actually stay at that level. But then by the same token, that is still significantly less than the $320 we saw the other day. So the price is coming down quite nicely, although it's still way higher than it should be. I showed you the other day that people were paying like $55 for the Iceberg Dawn, which seemed way too high. Well, there's not many solds, but they're actually going in the other direction. Iceberg Dawn is selling like $85 right now. $8,572 are the last three sold for the Gold Iceberg Dawn. The Gold Iceberg Dawn is not that expensive. At least it shouldn't be. And I know that the English price and the Japanese prices are never exactly the same. I'm not saying that they are. But I am telling you that over in Japan right now, the Iceberg Dawn is like under 3,000 yen. And that means that we're talking kind of less than $20. $85 for that seems weird to me, ladies and gentlemen. That seems weird to me. So we are seeing that the bigger Dawn, like the Zoro, is coming down, but the smaller Dawn, like the Iceberg, is going up. So what's happening as a whole? Well, let's have a look. They are generally falling. Now, the Iceberg one is a bit weird because there have been very few sales of that, and it's clearly higher than it probably should be. But if we have a look at I've just Googled, or not Googled, but I've searched on eBay for the last sold Gold Dawn, and we see we've got an Odin for $35, an Enel for $60, a Reiju for $95. Well, Reiju's going to be a bit more popular, that makes sense. But we've got ones for $35 and $60 here in terms of the Odin and the Enel. And that actually seems a lot more realistic. That seems about right here in terms of the Gold Dawn. They are not across the board, but generally coming down. Like I showed you the other day, the Enel Dawn was selling for $125. Well, this is certainly a lot less than that. I showed you that the Sakazuki Dawn was selling for $75. Well, I've just had a quick look at Sakazuki Dawn now, and there's like the last two were 50 and 40 bucks. So that one seems to be coming down nicely. One of the important things to note about this Gold Dawn, and it's not a very satisfying answer, I'm afraid, nobody really knows what to do with this Gold Dawn. The Zoro is ridiculous, but then we were all told it was the most expensive, so that kind of makes sense. The Iceberg is somehow going up, while the Sakazuki is coming down? It's all a little bit all over the place right now. We are generally seeing a trend down for the Gold Dawn. They are coming down, and a lot of them, like the Sakazuki and etc., are coming down significantly. But then we're seeing weird things like the Iceberg Dawn going up, and nobody really knows why. Except the answer is that we don't really know what to do with the Gold Dawn. Like, if we take the Rebecca Dawn as an example, here are the first two sales. They're both around $150. We got a $140 and a $150. But again, that was like as the starter decks came out, so that makes the most sense. We get that. But if we have a look at the most recent Rebecca Dawn sold, we've got a 80 and a 100 and a 90. Which are significantly lower. And fun fact, I've just showed you 5 sales of the Gold Rebecca Dawn on eBay. They are the only 5 that have been sold over on eBay. The number of sales we've got of the Gold Dawn right now is so low that we are seeing weird things happening. Now, make no mistake, I've shown you with Sakazuki, I've shown you with Rebecca, I've shown you with Zoro. Generally speaking, the Dawn is coming down. But we are not seeing some big hyper super crash like we would see a lot of the time. And the reason is, it's a new set, it's a different set, and we don't really know what to do with it now. So I think we're going to see, like, over time, this is all just going to keep coming down quite nicely. And it is coming down, but I think it's taking a bit longer than it normally would, and we're going to see a bunch of anomalies like Iceberg. When enough time goes by, enough cards have been bought, enough Dawn has been sold on the secondary market, things should shake out quite nicely. We're just not there yet, and I think that's pretty important to note out. So what about Manga Nami then? Maybe we should have a quick look at Manga Nami, see what's going on with Manga Nami. The other day I showed you that this was selling for $1,000, which, I mean, I told you at the time was way too high. What have we got in terms of sales now? Yeah, it's like a $500 card. Like, the last couple sales are both $510. I told you $1,000 was way too high. I predicted that this would end up being around about a $400-ish card. It's already halved. It's coming down quite nicely. And here's the thing, right? I just told you with the Gold Dawn, we don't know what to do with it yet. There's not enough of them out there. It's a new set. We don't know how to deal with it. We know how to deal with Manga Rares. We know that they're going to crash on release. Nami is crashing on release very nicely. I hope the people that paid like $1,000 on release at least got it like graded or something, because then they can, you know, have the first graded one or whatever, because otherwise it just seems like a bit of a waste, unfortunately. Bit of a waste. And if we have a look at the graph for Nami on TCG Player, we can see exactly what we expect to see, which is set releases, and the card absolutely crashes. The cards that we're expecting, this is exactly what we're going to see, because we know how to deal with them. We've done this stuff before. We've done this dance. We know that the cards are going to crash in value as soon as the set is out properly. And that is what we're seeing generally from Premium Booster 01. Take the alternate art Sanji leader. Here's a graph on TCG Player. And okay, there was actually a little bit of a modest recovery. But when it was released, we just see a big crash. A little bit of recovery since. It is the only alternate art leader in the set, so that is always going to give it a little bit of a bump. But make no mistake about it, set releases, and this one went down quite nicely. We saw the other day that the Boa Hancock is a very sought after card in this particular set. It's one that people like very much indeed. But again, we are seeing that the price is just crashing on release. Started off as kind of an $80 card as a release pre-sale kind of thing. Already come down to $50. It's a big crash in price, exactly, I should mention, as we would generally expect, because that's what these cards kind of do. And the thing is, there's no surprises here that I'm seeing outside of the Gold Dawn that we don't know what to do with. Alternate art Charlotte Katakuri, very popular card, wonderful Akira Igawa artwork. It's come down from like 75 to 65 in a few days since this set actually released. This is what we're seeing. There are a couple of ones like Sanji that have gone down very quickly and then had a little bit of a bump back upwards. That does happen sometimes. But generally speaking, as a whole, this set is doing what we would expect it to do. It is going down. Even the Dawn are going down, but we don't know what to do with them. Say it with me, and that means that there are a bunch of surprises out there. I need to stress, as I've said a couple of times, the Gold Dawn is still crashing. It is still coming down. The value is still dropping very quickly for most of them. It's just that it's not exactly what we would expect all the time, and that's pretty important. So there we go. Set as a whole, coming down nicely. Manga Nami crashing like we would expect. Gold Dawn coming down, but not as consistently or reliably for all of them as we might expect. And also cross your fingers you pull the Zoro Dawn, because that one is getting silly. So tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. What have you pulled? What do you want to pull? Tell me all of this in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.